I've seen so many videos on the internet that there is a specific amount you can start with to raise a certain number of birds. I'm not saying that's bad information, but it should be just a guidance. Hello there, good afternoon. I'm just from feeding my chickens, giving them their last meal of the day, and I thought I would use 8 minutes of your time to share some experience, that I experienced as a new farmer when it comes to layers. When you're raising these layer chickens, there are so many factors that come at play. And I just want to share this quickly, this little experience. Maybe it would inform your decision later on when you made up your mind to start poultry farming, or it can help you in your journey of raising these layer chickens. So usually, when you're starting out as a poultry farmer, you do the preparations, the planning, the budgeting, and everything in your mind, with this mindset that by 5 months you should be expecting production. So your aim or your goal is to raise these chickens from day 1 until the 5th month. However, there are chances that your chickens might lay earlier, maybe 3.5 at 16 weeks, or even at 18 weeks, which is great. But there are chances also that your chickens might lay later on, maybe after 5 months. So with that in mind, I started on this journey. I had my budget all drawn out, and I started raising these chickens. With this mindset, especially with assurance from my supplier that the birds he had given me, they will start laying at maybe 3.5, given all the factors constant with the perfect conditions. And then also the feeds I was feeding them, the concentrate, the supplier was like, this is the best concentrate. So your chickens, be sure you start seeing your droppings or your drop of eggs at 3.5 months. I was like, okay, that's very cool. But if you've been following my journey, my poultry journey with these layers, you realize that I developed a bit of anxiety along the way because the eggs were not coming, right? But they later on came at exactly 5 months. I thank God for that. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you start your journey with a mindset that whatever you have started with, the budget, that will be it. I've seen so many videos on the internet, on this YouTube, and everywhere on the internet, that there is a specific amount you can start with to raise a certain number of birds. I'm not saying that's bad information, but it should be just a guidance. For example, when I was starting out, I was told, I had this in mind, that to raise a layer from day 1 up point of lay, when it starts laying at mostly at 18 weeks, it costs you 28,000 Ghana shillings. If I'm wrong, kindly correct me in the comment section below, because I don't remember the figure well. So I'm just vaguely remembering that number. So I had that in mind, and I made my calculations. But thing is, when these birds started laying at the 5th month, they were even later than I had budgeted. That means I still had to dig into my pockets and top onto and still continue to feed these chickens, you see. But after also seeing the first egg for the entire, let's say, 2 weeks, these birds, they were not still able to meet their cost of feeds and cost of other costs like vaccination and all that. I still had to dig into my pockets and top up on that, on whatever they had given me. So my point is, if you are raising layers, you have to continuously fund their feeding. You have to continuously spend on their maybe medication if they get sick along the way. So it doesn't stop at the point when they start giving you the first egg, because even the first egg is not going to help you meet their costs right away. It will take you some time, because after 1 week of them starting to lay, they're not going all to start laying at the same time. They will start maybe with a smaller percentage, and as time goes on, gradually the percentages will raise, but still they will not reach peak production right away. And to make it worse, once they start laying, those eggs are too small. We call them starter eggs. It's very, very difficult to sell those eggs on the market. People will like, when they see with those starter eggs, especially these retailers, leave alone the last consumer, but these retailers, like for example me, I'm in an urban setup. So in this setup, the people know what they want. They know what they consume. So on these shops, they have these big eggs, these mature eggs. So when you present them with your smaller eggs, they kind of look down on you and they try to embarrass you, and there's a certain way they make you feel. You feel like, why can't I just go back and just eat these eggs? But you can't consume them though. And it's even worse for us small farmers, because if it were a large farm, maybe you say that I can collect a bigger percentage and I sell them at once, maybe to bakeries and those other people who can consume smaller eggs. But if you're a small farmer like me, it becomes very, very difficult. However, I'll share with you in the next video, I'll share with you how I managed that, or how I went about selling those starter eggs like smoothly, and you'll be able to make some small money out of that, because I was selling them at 7,000 maybe a tray. So do you think selling 7,000 or 8,000 a tray to these retailers, do you think it will be enough for you to meet the feeding costs of these birds? So that means even after them laying at the 5th month, even the next month, you're most likely to continue spending. What no one tells you, especially in those videos, is that feeding especially is a continuous expense. And with even them starting to lay, it's not a guarantee that you're going to be relieved of that expense right away. You have to wait, patiently wait, as you continue feeding these birds and digging into your pockets. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a game of patience and perseverance, but it's also a game of you being smart. When you're just starting, make sure you have some money stashed away somewhere to come in, just in case, like to surplus your budget, just in case whatever you planned out is, whatever you planned for them is out of the pocket. Because I'm telling you, things don't go as always or as the way you plan them, especially with us small farmers, and especially if you're just beginning. Things might turn a turn that you never expected. You know, they might start laying early, which is cool. They might even start laying later on, because there are so many mistakes we make along the way. We make mistakes with the feeds, with the housing, with the lighting and everything. So at the end of the day, we end up messing up certain things because we're just new to the job. It's one thing gathering all the information, but it's also another thing implementing the information you have gotten from the process. So all in all, make sure you are well prepared, especially when it comes to money, because poultry farming is all about money. You have to have money to make sure your farm survives, because if you do not, your farm is going to drain way faster than even the way your birds can grow.